Picture a Viking warrior standing at the edge of a burial mound at midnight. His hand rests on his sword, but it's shaking. Not from cold, not from exhaustion, from fear. Because he knows what sleeps beneath that earth, and he knows that steel won't stop it. The Vikings conquered half of Europe, but there were 9 things in their mythology that terrified them more than any human army ever could. These weren't just stories told to scare children. They were the nightmares that shaped an entire civilization. The Draugr was the corpse that wouldn't stay dead. When a Viking died with unfinished business, greed or jealousy still burning in their heart, they could rise as a Draugr. These weren't mindless zombies. They kept their intelligence, their memories, and their hatred. They possessed superhuman strength, could shapeshift, and were known to drive men insane just by looking at them. The saga of Grettir the Strong describes a Draugr named Glam, who cursed a hero with permanent fear of the dark before being defeated. Vikings took elaborate precautions during burials. They'd place scissors on the chest of the deceased, tie the big toes together, or even drive needles into the feet to prevent the corpse from walking. The fear was so real that many burial sites show evidence of these rituals being performed well into the Christian era. Jörmungandr was the world's serpent, a snake so massive it encircled the entire earth and bit its own tail. The son of Loki, this creature lay at the bottom of the ocean, and any movement it made caused tsunamis and storms. Thor encountered it twice, once while fishing, when he nearly pulled it from the sea before a terrified giant cut the line. The prophecy said that when Jörmungandr released its tail, Ragnarök would begin. During that final battle, Thor would kill the serpent, but die 9 steps later from its venom. For a seafaring culture like the Vikings, the idea that something incomprehensibly huge lurked beneath every voyage was psychological warfare. Sailors would make offerings before long trips, and unusual wave patterns were interpreted as the serpent stirring in its sleep. Hell was both a place and a person, and neither offered comfort. The goddess Hel ruled over the realm of the same name, where those who died of sickness, old age, or dishonor were sent. Her appearance was split down the middle, one half living flesh, the other half corpse. But the real fear wasn't her appearance, it was what her realm represented. Vikings who died in battle went to Valhalla, or Folkvangr, feasting and fighting until Ragnarök. Those sent to Hel faced cold darkness and obscurity forever. No glory, no second chance, just endless grey existence in a hall called Eldjudnir, which translates to misery. The difference between a warrior's death and any other death wasn't just cultural preference. It was the difference between eternal honor and eternal irrelevance. At the base of Yggdrasil, the world tree that held all 9 realms together, a dragon named Níðhöggr gnawed at the roots. His name means malice striker, and his purpose was destruction. He didn't just chew wood. He fed on corpses in the realm of Hel, particularly those of murderers and oathbreakers. The prose Edda describes him chewing on the dead while also working to bring down the entire cosmic order. If Yggdrasil fell, all 9 realms would collapse with it. Níðhöggr represented entropy, the idea that even the gods and the universe itself weren't permanent. Every moment he chewed brought everything closer to oblivion, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop him. Only delay. The mare was the origin of our word nightmare, and Vikings believed it was a real spirit. This entity would sit on your chest while you slept, causing sleep paralysis, suffocation, and horrifying visions. Some versions described it as a woman, others as a shapeless shadow. Either way, the mare targeted people who'd wronged others or broken oaths, making it a supernatural enforcer of social order. Protection required complex rituals, including placing a knife under your pillow or reciting specific prayers. Then there was Fenrir, the wolf so dangerous the gods had to trick him into being bound. The son of Loki, Fenrir grew so large and vicious that only a magical chain forged by dwarves could hold him. The god Tyr sacrificed his hand to make it happen. Prophecy said Fenrir would break free during Ragnarok and devour Odin himself. A wolf that could kill the All-Father wasn't just a monster. It was inevitability with teeth. The three Norns, Urd, Verdandi, and Skuld, controlled fate itself. They sat at the base of Yggdrasil and wove the destiny of every living thing, god and human alike. What made them terrifying wasn't cruelty, it was indifference. Even Odin, king of the gods, couldn't change what the Norns had written. He could see the future, know his own death was coming at Ragnarok, and still couldn't avoid it. For Vikings, this meant that courage wasn't about defeating fate. It was about facing it with honor. But that also meant every tragedy, every loss, every moment of suffering had been decided before you were born. The Norns didn't care about justice or fairness. They simply wove, and the thread would cut when it was time. Garmr was the hound that guarded the gates of hell, and his howl signaled the beginning of Ragnarok. Covered in blood, chained in the cave Gnipahellir, he would break free when the end times arrived and battle the god Tyr, killing him in the process. His howl wasn't just noise, it was the sound of cosmic collapse, the announcement that the age of gods was over. And finally, there was Naglfar, the ship made entirely from the fingernails and toenails of the dead. When enough nails had been gathered, the ship would be complete, and it would carry an army of the dead and giants to the final battle. This is why Vikings trimmed the nails of their dead, a practice done to delay Ragnarok itself. Every untrimmed nail was another plank in the ship of doom. Even in death, you could contribute to the end of everything. The Vikings didn't fear death. They feared what came after. They feared dishonor, irrelevance, and the idea that even gods couldn't escape their fate. These myths weren't entertainment. They were warnings woven into every decision, every battle, and every burial. And maybe that's what made the Vikings so fierce. When you believe the universe itself is always one step away from collapsing, courage isn't optional. It's all you have left. What myth would you have feared most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see what other ancient cultures were terrified of, the next video is already waiting.